The president doesn't look like he's helping that effort at all. Meanwhile, ABC News has obtained President Trump's first internal re-election campaign poll conducted this March, and it shows former Vice President Joe Biden beating Trump by wide margins in key battleground states. The poll, which the president denied that George Stephanopoulos even exists, shows Biden with double-digit leads over him in Pennsylvania and in Wisconsin. For more, I'm joined by former U.S. Ambassador to Russia Michael McFaul, Natasha Bertrand, national security correspondent for Politico, and David Frum, senior editor of The Atlantic. Natasha, tell me what you've been able to report here.
Yeah, so we spoke with nearly a dozen law enforcement veterans, and they tell us that this task force that was set up by Christopher Wray just after he became the FBI director in 2017 is really the exact opposite. Their mission has been the exact opposite, in a good way, of what the president's stated mindset is, which is that they are trying to fight foreign interference, foreign influence operations in the United States. And this is a combination of cybersecurity, counterintelligence, and counterintelligence officials who are working with every field office in the country, all 56 FBI field offices, in order to combat interference and combat this threat that the president has now essentially said, well, bring it on, open door, we welcome it. So in that sense, he's made the FBI's job a lot harder, because now it's emboldened the foreign adversaries who want to try to attack the 2020 election. And one of the things that they expressed concern over was that Bill Barr, who is responsible for, the priorities that the FBI has, the budget, et cetera, the resources, he's been extremely aligned with this White House. So how is he going to look at this priority?
Ambassador, let me ask me, look, you've had experience of being in Moscow. You've worked with station chiefs for the CIA. You know how intelligence works. Everybody works together, I'd like to think. Tell me how this would affect people like a station chief over in Moscow, how it would affect the FBI people working with them in counterintelligence when they hear the President of the United States say, well, I probably wouldn't tell the FBI what's going on if I get some dirt from an overseas government. Okay, if you ask me about it, yes, I'll say the right answer. Yeah, I would have called him, sure. Then you call your favorite news program in the morning, Fox and Friends. You still tell Steve Doocy, yeah, I would do that, I think. This doesn't sound like the clarion call of a leader.
I think that's right, Chris. I think there'd be two reactions from my friends in the intelligence community. One, of course, it's demoralizing because the president is encouraging the exact behavior that they're trying to counter. But two, I think it would also be that just genuine belief that the president of the United States does not understand what these other governments do. He doesn't understand counterintelligence. He doesn't understand that when foreigners show up to your campaign headquarters, they don't introduce themselves with a business card that says, hey, I'm working for an intelligence organization from Russia or Iran. It's much more, they have covers for that. And he doesn't understand that when they hand over information, two other things. One, they're doing that to advance the interests of their country, Russia, not candidate Trump or President Trump. And two, they may be providing disinformation at the same time that they're providing alleged information. And that's why that would be, I think, very deflating for that community to hear those remarks.
David, it seems like if you're fighting a war and you're in the trenches, even it's a cyber war, and you find out that the commander-in-chief, at least the person with that job description as part of the Constitution, isn't really into the war.
Oh, I think the situation is much worse than that. And let's step back here and remember what it was that happened in 2016. And in this great mess of words that we're all throwing up in the air, this story originated with a crime. It originated with the Russians entering democratic servers or deceiving democratic people to steal email. It's exactly like Watergate. It happened to be digital rather than physical property, but it began with a theft. It began with a crime. And everybody knew who had done it, and they knew it as early as the summer of 2016. When Donald Trump got the invitation to meet with the Russians, they weren't offering him intelligence. They were saying, we found some dusty archives at the Moscow State University. Maybe you were interested. He knew that there was the possibility of stolen property. That's what he went to the meeting to get. Now, he was disappointed. They did not deliver the stolen property. But that's what he was trying to get. This is the fruits of the Watergate break-in that they are being tantalized with. Now, ultimately, when the fruit of the stolen property when the stolen property is produced, is distributed through WikiLeaks in the summer of 2017, and then again, more devastatingly, in the fall. But this is not Fox and Friends and Hannity and all the Trump talkers are trying to make it seem like, well, are you saying you can never have tea with the German ambassador? Of course you can have tea with the German ambassador. This is about a Russian theft that everyone understood at the time was happening, and the Trump people most of all understood, and that they wanted to receive the benefit of.
Ambassador, just to get back on your expertise here, it seems to me that there's two realities. There's the president's reality of he's just a pal, or a beginner pal, learning the ropes, taking whatever shot he had, and what looked like an uphill campaign, like he was going to lose to Hillary, go on and be a rich businessman again, but not winning, not the presidency. So the same time he's having all these meetings with the Trump Tower and his kids and hanging around with the Russian ambassadors and all these people trooping through the Republican convention, walking around everywhere like it's an arcade that they own.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.